Yeah, I'm not sure what's with Ruth and Karen. Karen's not going to make it for sure. So
Yeah,
she's
Ruth is not coming as well. She sent me a message.
okay.
Okay. Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vivagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanantam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Welcome to our Q&A follow-up. We are following up the start of the big picture, the book, the summary or the compilation of the basic notions or concepts or teachings of Vedanta by Swami Paramarthananda. So last week we went the structure here is to find room for questions. But last week I did not read before meeting with you. So if you don't mind, I would just go quickly through the third chapter, okay, and then we see if we find any point that that deserves more further elaboration. So it says here that society in this stage of life, a significant portion of the Vedas deals with lifestyle. So the Vedas, okay, is how to live a life in harmony with other beings, other creatures, and environment. How to behave, basically. I mean, it's like it's a manual on how to be a human being. Why we need a manual? Why we need the Vedas? Why the other creatures do not need it? Because the other creatures they are controlled directly by their causal program. But in the case of us human beings, we have a causal program, but we have a subtle mind with the ability to choose, decide, determine, and so on, which brings about another set of nature, a second nature, or second level program, which is the body of our vasanas, our conditioning, okay, our program, our psychological mental program, not our human program, but our mental and emotional, intellectual program. So because we have this program, we find ourselves in trouble because we don't know exactly well how to follow the Dharma and to live in harmony with all other creatures in the universe. So not knowing exactly due to Rajas and Tamas conditioning the human intellect. So the Vedas came and said, okay, so this is the manual. Is the manual how to be a human being and to live in harmony with your environment. In the process, you will grow spiritually until you can come and understand that this is just an apparent order of reality, which is not really real, but you are the only reality, the conscious subject principle, or awareness that we are. So the Vedas, it's important as a manual because of this problem we have, which is our free will, our intelligence. The human intelligence has a quite a price tag attached to it because, as we know, we make mistakes in trying to follow Dharma, and try to conform with the natural laws. So the Vedas teach us a lifestyle should be balanced and in accordance with certain factors to ensure social harmony and individual progress. Unless we live in harmony with society, unless we live in harmony with our environment, okay, it's the individual spiritual progress, it becomes very difficult. Why? If we are not living in alignment, in harmony with this cosmic laws, ethic, karmic, and psychological and physical, if we breaking the laws, we again and again, we get conflicts and our mind is disturbed and we don't grow spiritually, but we tend to get more and more attached and bound to samsara, okay? So it's very important, this passage. Vedas teach our lifestyle should be balanced and in harmony with the factors, with the laws, with the rules, to ensure both human and social harmony, which is fundamental for our individual growth, our personal growth, our spiritual growth. Again, it's very easy to understand. If we don't live in harmony with our environment and other beings and other creatures and so on, we end up getting a lot of adversity. Our Prarabdha karma is going to be more and more adversity. We look at the situation we live now as human beings, we are getting very difficult Prarabdha karmas because for centuries we have neglected the natural laws and we have been grabbing more than what we give in, and not to say about the right spirit, the right attitude in respect to others and the environment. So because we are not following this, we are getting a lot of conflicting or adverse results, karma, okay? So we need to understand how to behave. The three gunas we all know, and they are the building blocks of creation, the universe. They are the building blocks of our three bodies. They are there in the causal body. They manifest as a certain mental, emotional condition in the subtle body, and it grossifies to appear as well in our physical body. Our physical body may be, altogether conditioned by tamas, conditioned by rajas, or conditioned by sattva. So the three bodies, they are configured, constituted by the five energies plus all the elements that unfold from these three gunas, okay? So the body is going to be a reflection of a constitution which is more sattvic in the three levels, the three bodies, or more rajasic or more tamasic, okay? And it's easy to see it even in the shape of our bodies. A tamasic person tends overall to be overweight, big, more tamasic usually, more inert, more procrastinating, more lazy, more, and then the person eats more and it's going to lose those abilities to discipline oneself. So it's the nature of tamas. So we can see as well, somebody very rajasic usually has a very, very tight and active physical body, and that can be a problem as well because it may wear out the body, And the sattvic person, of course, is our goal is to develop the dominance of sattva in the three bodies, on those three levels, so that we can have this revealing, focusing, and knowledge, understanding, capability to do our spiritual work once we come to Vedanta. Even before we come to Vedanta, we need to have a sattvic mind to be able to follow Dharma. You understand? If we don't have a good sattvic mind, even to follow, to align our lives with Dharma becomes difficult because, our tendency may be rajasic and tamasic, and our intellectual discriminating faculties is a little bit under the effect of rajas and tamas. And then I can't follow Dharma. I'm going to be compelled to do certain things that violates Dharma because I'm under the pressure of rajas and tamas, right? So overall, we need to cultivate, develop, and maintain sattva in all the three bodies if we want to be growing, evolving, and getting to self-knowledge. The three gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is derived from sat. This is important. Sattva is called sattva because it's the closest modification of satya, reality, consciousness, Satchitananda. So satya, okay, which is consciousness, existence, limitless awareness. So G-Sat, it somehow, due to Maya, it develops something such as an inclusion, a modification, a vrit out of itself once Maya comes into play. And this modification is sattva, is the knowledge, is the intelligence that contains the universe. Okay, this all begins with sattva. That's why we say that Ishvara is pure sattva. So it's the closest thing to satya. It's the closest thing to awareness, consciousness, the self. You understand? Once Maya comes into play. Okay. So sattva reflects harmony, equanimity, openness, and peace, and knowledge, and so on. When sattva predominates, we feel clear. Okay, we feel very discriminative. We feel balanced. We feel strong emotionally. We feel peaceful. We feel happy, and we feel like desires and fears are somehow suppressed in the presence of sattva. When sattva is there, desires and fears, which is rooted in a lot of ignorance, they are not present. And the other way around is as well. When rajas and tamas, desires and fears come, immediately sattva begins being suppressed. Okay, so these other two energies of desires and fears, they relate to rajas and tamas when they become more predominant, and then sattva shrinks. Sattva is the substratum of rajas and tamas. Sattva is always there, the revealing power. But then in order for this universe to stand, we need the inclusion of these other two energies. And depending on how much this inclusion is, sattva is going to appear as concealed, as obscured, okay, as veiled. But sattva is always there. That's the good news, okay? It's already there. It's the intelligence, knowledge, cause of everything, okay? But then depending on how much rajas and tamas, it's going to appear as if sattva shrinks, okay? But it's always there. So with certain lifestyle measures in place, such as living a peaceful, virtuous life and eating a pure, simple diet, it's possible to cultivate more sattvic mind. Okay, so there are several ways to support sattva, and it begins with lifestyle, as we know. You know, once we have clear our most important value, you know, a goal in life. When my goal is to live a happy life by the means of spiritual knowledge, and then we have to say, okay, this is my goal, and then how I go about to accomplish this goal. So I have to go by structuring my life in a more sattvic way. There is no way around it. You know, we need to structure life in a more sattvic way. Why? Because we cannot say, okay, I want to develop sattva because I want self-knowledge and so on. But at the same time, I want to keep my three business, because I'm used to make, you know, 50,000 a year, a month, or 10,000 a month. And for that, I need to keep 2 or 3 jobs, you understand, or businesses. So no, we have to say, no, those are conflicting goals, conflicting values, conflicting interests. So I need to develop a lifestyle that is more aligned, more conforming to my goal. So there is no way, there is always a price to pay. We cannot keep, you know, both goals, because one goal is going to obstruct the other goal. If my goal is self-knowledge and moksha, I cannot be a stock market broker, you know. Stock market broker, I don't know nowadays, but it used to be one of the most stressful jobs. I know because I had some relatives in that field, in that area. And so you cannot live that life and at the same time study the scriptures and contemplate and aspire for self-knowledge. So Rajas is this example, a very, very active, you know, is the projecting power that project. What does Raja project? First, And most importantly, it projects what? Desires, you know? Desires comes from Raja, the ideas, those notions that say, okay, now I need to do something with this energy and I'm going to go and accomplish this goal. And by doing so, I'm going to feel more complete, more satisfied, okay, more peaceful. But it never really pays the dividends we expect, because the more we gain, the more we accomplish, the more we feel like, okay, I need to get something more because that was not enough to resolve this fundamental problem. Okay, so this is the nature of rajas. It's going to keep producing these compulsion, desires, compulsions towards objects. When there is predominance of rajas in the mind, one is constantly stressed, restless, agitated, gripped by desires and fears, always feeling the need to be busy and possibly prone to anger and aggression. Anger comes on the rajasic nature of the mind because every time those desires they are obstructed, usually the rajasic person feels frustration, irritation, anger, and so on. Okay, and they don't want to give up. They want what they want. So they are go-getters. They are used to have success, and every time there is an obstruction, they get a little bit mad, and that disturbs even more their mental faculty, their intellectual faculty. Certain degree of rajas can be helped to cultivate a balanced life, but excessive, unnecessary rajas is a source of great suffering. We need rajas. It's important to understand that the three gunas are there because we need them so that the human body, the three bodies, and the universe can stand. They cannot stand without the three gunas. So it's just a question of balance, of keeping them in good proportion so that you can have a good life. We need both. We need rajas to accomplish our goals. When we come to spirituality and Vedanta, we need rajas. Without rajas, we don't have the energy to go and face this beginningless enemy as Maya, avidya, ignorance, this cosmic ignorance. It requires tremendous effort. Of course, when we come to Vedanta, it's an intellectual, mental effort, you know, to contemplate, study, reflecting, listening to the. So all of that requires rajas, okay? So we need a certain degree of rajas. But the problem with rajas, and I have some examples in my family, some of my close family members, that people who have been active and agitated and doing things one's entire life, and then they come and they retire. And then guess what? When they retire, we know the answer, huh, David? They can't stop. They can't stop. I have a very, very close person, you know, in my family that has finally retired, but one cannot stop because those rajasic tendencies became, you know, habits, became addictions, and one feels enormous discomfort because rajas is going to agitate the mind, stress the mind, and the only way to feel certain release or relief from that is by doing things. Okay, if the mind is extremely rajasic and if you try to sit down and meditate, what happens? You're gonna experience tremendous discomfort. But if your mind is agitated because there is a lot of rajas and you just go and do things and then you relieve or release that energy in doing something, you know, and accomplish something or try to do something. So it's a question of survival to do something when the mind has developed a binding, addictive vasana for action, activity, you know. It's sad to see, but at the same time, it's understandable because if the person stops, the person suffers very, very greatly. And then guess what? The person comes to a certain old age, and then the body does not follow those desires and those tendencies to act anymore. You understand? The body does not respond. There's no physical energy to cope with that much activity. and then the individual unavoidably suffers greatly old age. You understand? Because the body cannot no longer find relief by doing things, you know. And it's very sad. My father is going through this stage. He's 91, and his body is not really fit to do what he used to do up to a few years ago. And to stay put somewhere is great pain for him, you know. It's terrible. I mean, what I'm doing now, I have to be here, I have to be here, and I cannot go around, I cannot move. It can be very, very painful. So this is for us to understand the need to take control of our tendencies and develop a good balanced play among those three energies. You understand? Knowing that sometimes I need more rajas, sometimes I need more tamas, and sometimes mostly I need more sattva. You understand? So tamas is this inert and heavy, is the densest of the three energies, is the energies that allows the grossification of the five subtle elements to bring about the physical material world. Whereas sattva is reflective and raja is project, tamas has an obscuring, veiling power. Tama is required for us to rest and sleep and can be experienced in the body and mind as dullness, lethargy, laziness, sloth. Whereas a rajasic mind is active and full of desire, a tamasic mind tends to be lazy, indolent, and ignorant. So the tamasic mind is not altogether free of desires. It has little desire for action because it knows it does not have the energy available to go and accomplish its desires. The tamasic desire, and it remains there in a subconscious mind, but it manifests itself how? By violating the laws, because the desire is still there to accomplish or gain something here or there. You understand? Generally speaking, we say that a rajasic person has much more desires, and this is a fact. But it does not mean that a tamasic person does not have any desire. In fact, most of the criminals, most of the violators of Dharma, they are tamasic, and they violate because they don't have the energy, enough energy to play by the rules. You understand? And then they cheat, they deceive, you know, they lie, they manipulate. You find it often in the political class of some nations, some countries, especially countries like Brazil, where people they just cheat, they break, they violate the system again and again, and they got to those political powerful positions because they want to get what they want without minimum effort, without having to play by the rules. So a tamasic person still dreams. It's a daydreamer. It watches the TV and sees all those beautiful life and say, "Oh yes, I don't want to do anything. Let me drink more Coke and some more junk food here and keep dreaming and watching this TV. I want a house like that." And then if it has an opportunity, it tries to get it by the means of cheating. Okay. A tamasic mind does not think clearly. Instead, all we are likely going to want to do is to laze on the sofa